Hey, what you do, huh? You stupid? You got the rocks inside, huh? Hey, what does he think? He's a Michael Schumacher, huh? This is stupid. When I was your age, I'm making the car with my bare hands, okay? I'm gonna stop off for the watermelon. Oh, they got the fresh tomatoes. Free for a kilo? I gotta make the sauce. This is my car. My rules, nobody drive my car. Except for my wife, and sometimes she drive the car. She crash. Pooh, you bastard. Good morning, welcome back to another video with myself, as always, Alex Connor. And I want to talk to you about some of the biggest training mistakes that I've made over the years. And I'm going to start with, because I see a lot of people doing this, training multiple times a day when you want to get bigger and you're a strength-based athlete. And caveat, you're also a natural athlete and you're not taking performance-enhancing drugs. Okay, so there's a few little avenues we can go down here. And first of all, yes, you could train twice a day. You could train more than twice a day, okay? And still be natural and still get results, etc., etc. And we can go into all those little things. But I want to focus on the main bits of information. And for the most part, and for most of you, it is not sustainable, it is not intelligent, it is not the best approach, okay? For many reasons, one of them being time and efficiency. So when I was younger, I had a routine because my dad, he was a weightlifter, he's a bodybuilder. He was training in that sort of realm, and so was my mum. And I got to the age, I was about 12, 13, and I'd always seen my mum and dad train. I used to sort of hang around in gym crazies, you know, they'd go for an hour, and that was just normal for me. And I thought, you know, it's just what all people do. Little did I know that when I got older, I was like, oh, my parents actually train, that's pretty cool. And so I obviously got interested in it. You know, I was like, can I ever go? Obviously, as you get more inquisitive. And when I was sort of at a reasonable age, my dad, even though I was still very young, just taught me a lot of form. And obviously very lightweight, being still a young and developing person. And I think that's initially where my sort of love of form and technique came from, because I was always taught very strict form, and then I just refined that over the years, and I'm always continuing to do so, because it is such a key factor to avoiding injury and also enhancing your development, especially for those of you who are interested in doing this for a long time and interested in getting the most out of your training. Technique is very, very much overlooked, and strength in itself is a skill for the most part. So anyway, I started training, and my dad would show me all these techniques. I would do everything properly, and we'd have arguments, as you do, because anyone who's trained with a family member knows that you just don't listen to them. That's why sometimes training your girlfriend, your mum or your dad just doesn't work. Anyway, so I learned this technique, I learned this form, and my dad showed me a couple of routines. So I took it upon myself to do those routines, and I would always meet him in the gym after school, or if I was off. What I started doing is, when he'd finished work, is I would already have gone in and done that workout in the morning because I had nothing to do, right? And back then I thought, well, more is better. So if I do this workout more times a day, I'm going to get big, I'm going to get more jacked. And I'd come in the evening, and we'd have a chat, and I'm like, oh, I've already done this today. He's like, what do you mean you've already done this today? I'm like, well, I've already done this workout. He's like, what, you trained this morning already? I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? And I'm like, because why not? And obviously I was a beginner, so I wasn't really lifting much volume. I probably wasn't doing all the big compound movements. So I was able to train twice a day with little to no sort of massive repercussions. But what I thought was that if I just went to the gym more, then I would grow more. So the mistake I made, to drive it down to a principle, is that I thought that if I could turn up to the gym more often, that I would get more gains, because the weights themselves would actually make me bigger, where the weights in fact don't make you bigger. It's the adaptation of the weights that make you bigger, because when you weight train, And when you apply stress and stimuli to the body, that causes a demand for growth. So we have to actually cause catabolism, or breakdown of the muscle tissue, or stress if you like. So when we're moving through ranges, or for example an eccentric, which is a lengthening of the muscle contraction, we're actually causing much more damage to the muscle fibers. And obviously we need a certain amount of load and a certain amount of stress and volume to be able to achieve this. So by doing that, it creates that demand and that window of opportunity for the MPS, or the muscle protein synthesis response, to actually activate. And then we need to provide it, as I've talked about in previous videos, with enough nutrients. And then the key building block, we need to rest, sleep, and then we can recover, grow. And that cycle repeats and repeats and repeats. So if you're a young person, or if you're an older person, it doesn't matter. If you're a person, if you're going in and training twice a day, and your goal is strength and size, for most of you, not all of you, for most of you, it is not going to be the best approach, especially if you're training effectively. And what I mean by that is, if you're using the big compound movements, you're training smart, you're training at a certain level, so you're training hard enough as well, you shouldn't be able to go in twice a day and train, okay? Because you're going to be too fatigued, your muscles need to rest, you do not have that ability to adapt and recover that fast. So that's one of my first biggest lessons, okay? Trying to train too much, too often, with not enough volume intensity, not the right exercises. So really, I was doing a whole lot more and getting a whole lot less. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to get a lot more by doing the minimum and then building it up over time, so that we've got somewhere to progress and grow to. Okay, the second point is going back to the food thing, which I have mentioned in one of my prior videos, but I'm going to take a different route on it. And I talked about how I wish I would have tracked my calories. Now, that in and of itself is one of the mistakes I made, because when I was trying to grow, not only was I not lifting enough in the early years, I wasn't eating enough either. And I hear this all the time, like, I'm eating loads of food. And I thought I was eating loads of food. And by tracking your food, it creates an awareness, and it also removes the guesswork, and it also allows you to see or get a gauge of how much food you're actually eating. And then you can see, oh, maybe I'm not eating enough food. Maybe that's one of the reasons I'm actually not gaining weight, along with the fact that I'm not lifting enough volume or enough load. Because if you're just adding food in and you're not lifting enough weight, so you're not getting stronger over time, you're not going to be adding muscle. So anyways, move that calendar. Are we still rolling? We're still rolling. Okay. So anyways, I thought I was eating a lot of food, right? I was not eating a lot of food. I was a really active kid, and it was the food choices I was making. So for example, I'd probably eat a lot of like cereals or processed foods or sandwiches, except like most kids, I was eating cereals in the morning. The cereals. I was eating cereal in the morning. You know, I was having sandwiches for lunch. And now, really, you have a couple of sandwiches, you have your cereal, you have a fruit, you have some yogurt. It's not really that many calories. And at school, I was always really hungry. I was always like scavenging for food. Not that I was getting starved, it's just that I wasn't eating enough food, or enough food with substance in it. So, for example, what I eat now is, you know, a lot of more whole foods rather than just like breads and sandwiches. I'll have, you know, for lunch, I might have like a green curry that I make myself. You know, have like chicken, like real meat, and then like a massive bowl of rice with mixed grains and vegetables and whatever it might be, and cashews. So, you know, there's a lot more calories in there, but also that food, because it's more complex and whole in nature, gives me a lot more satiability, but also fuels my body a lot more. And when you're a kid, having a green curry or having something like that for lunch is generally not on the menu for most people. Not that you don't want to eat it, but it doesn't really come to mind depending on your cultural background. And also it's a bit of a pain in the ass as well. So I think going back, making better food choices, or creating an awareness and having someone to say, hey, look, it's not that you can't have sandwiches. If you're going to, perhaps have something more substantial on them and have 6 of them instead of just 2. And then also having more snacks between the gaps as well, and foods that are obviously high in protein. So I think that is another big thing that a lot of people make the mistake of. I hear it all the time. Alex, I'm eating a lot of food. I can't gain weight. I'm a hard gainer. Bollocks, you're a hard gainer. It's not eating enough food. You're better to be on that side of it anyway. You're better to be someone who's leaner and struggling to gain weight than someone who's very overweight and struggling to lose it, in my opinion. Anyways, and then you ask what someone eats and they run you through the day. I'm eating loads of food. And you're like, mate, that's not loads of food. You're eating food that might make you full, but that's not loads of food. That's not lots of calories. So if that's you, perhaps start tracking your food. Have a little look at it. Write down what you eat. Hell, even take a picture of all the food you eat in a day. Sit down, go over it, and assess it. You might find that you're not eating that many calories after all. Alright, the third, I'm just going to do 3, alright, because otherwise it's going to get... We've got more videos, The third thing is supplements. So it was...
Man, I love the cake.
Alright, anyway, it was thinking that supplements were going to fill in the gap of food, but thinking that they had magical qualities and abilities. And you know what I'm talking about here. So, for example, I remember getting protein powder for the first time and using Mass Gainer and thinking that this was the final key that I'd been missing in my life to complete the journey to gains. And it wasn't. It was not the mystical sword of Excalibur that I would need to pull out from the rock to give me these mystical gains. No, it wasn't. It just cost me a shit ton of money. Right? Because I thought that protein in and of itself had magical abilities to be able to build muscle, where, as we know, or I hope most of you know by now, protein does not do that at all. It just helps you get in your daily protein intake, and perhaps it fills in the gaps that are not met by food. So, for example, don't crash it now, Al. Don't crash it on the camera, son. All right, back it right up there, boy. Come on. Don't fuck it up now. Okay, well done. All right, so, you know, hang on. Fucking sun on me face now. So it doesn't have magic abilities after all, and that's the same with any supplement. So it was wasting my time on money on supplements that I just didn't need at all, and thinking that they were gonna make me bigger or make me more shredded, etc. And I even remember going to my nutrition teacher, Lillian. Shout out, because you'll definitely be listening, right? Because everyone's listening to my channel. It's the best. And I said, oh, I want to get on this. I remember the supplement came out, and it was something, I can't remember the name. It was something to get shredded, and it had that when acai berry came out, and it was making a hit, right? And the All Blacks were taking it, because I was living in New Zealand at the time, and apparently they were getting lean on it. And I was like, man, I got to get some of this. I got to get shredded. And I went to her, and I'm like, look, you know, what do you think of this? And I was asking that question, what do you think of this? And she's like, well, she's like, Al, she said it in the nicest way, like, well, one, you probably want to get a little bit bigger before you get shredded, because otherwise you're going to look like a string bean. Brutal honesty, but I loved it. Not at the time, though. And then she said, also, it's not about the supplement, like, it's about food. Like, and this is what we're going to be learning, because this was early on in my studying time. I was about 17. And anyway, she actually directed me to someone who inspired me and helped me out a lot over the years as well. And she made me realize that it's not just the supplementation. Like, you're going about this the wrong way. Before you go for the supplements, you've got to understand energy balance, and then calories, and then protein, fats, and your micros and your macros and all that good stuff that we talk about. And I was missing the forest for the trees. Once again, I was trying to go straight to the top and get this nutrient or this supplement that was going to do all this work for me, and it was going to make me like really shredded and fucking amazing and all this. And again, that's what I thought, right? I thought that I needed this supplement, and that was going to be the magic pill. And a lot of you out there, and it happens every day in the gym, and I've been there, I understand, and people are focusing on supplements. They think that these supplements are going to fill the gap. They think that the supplement's going to make them big, jack, shredded, whatever it is, get a girlfriend, turn them into Prince Charming, and it's just not the case, okay? They are the most smallest, least important factor in the whole priority of nutrition. Yes, they have their place. Yes, some of them are good. Most of them are shite, okay, because it's the marketing, but there are some good supplements out there. I've done some recent material for those of you who follow me, a little bit about that, and there's much more coming, so I can educate you on that and share with you which supplements you should, could, and may be taking. But first of all, it's about starting with those basic principles. So to sum it up, they're my biggest 3 mistakes at this point in time that I wanted to share with you. It's training multiple times a day, doing it wrong, not doing it right, trying to overtrain if you like, but not really overtraining, just not training effectively. Not tracking my food or not eating enough calories and just making the wrong food choices, and thinking that supplements had a magic ability and they just don't. Okay, so if that's you, stop, identify it, rectify it. As always, questions, queries, comment below, send me an email. As always, you know the drill, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you here next week. Just a quick one, more coming up. We're starting a new series, as I alluded to this week. So for those of you who don't follow me on social, I don't do loads and loads and loads, but we make sure we're regular on it. Follow my IG story for all the behind the scenes footage, because we're starting a new series on here, YouTube soon. Me, chefs, Ash, making amazing, delicious food for you. Keeping it simple, okay? So guys, as always, until next time, stay fearless.